The weather is turning, spring has sprung, the fight game is getting hot. We're gonna talk about all that on the only round you should be listening to, the final round. Saturday, November 19th was a fun day of boxing. At a sold-out Hulu theater in New York City, two of boxing's top prospects were in action. On the undercard, 19-year-old junior middleweight prospect Xander Zayas looked sensational. He won an 8-round decision over Quincy Labalas. He looked poised, he looked confident, he looked fast. It's easy to forget that Zayas is only 19 years old, and he's on his way to being a star in the sport. The main event was super middleweight prospect Edgar Berlanga against Steven Rolls. Berlanga did a lot wrong this fight. He looked uninspired, he didn't cut off the ring, he didn't jab, but he did win the fight. ESPN televised the fight, and Tim Bradley was not high on Berlanga's performance.
He just seemed confused. He wasn't sure how to be. He didn't have an identity tonight. Should I write him off? No. But if he wants to be that star that he say he's gonna be, he gonna have to make a lot of changes.
On DAZN, the main event was Blair the Flair Cobbs against Alexis Rocha in a welterweight showdown. If you follow boxing, you know Blair Cobbs has called out everyone from Jerron Boots Ennis to Errol Spence Jr. to Terrence Crawford.
I need to be put in a position to be at the top right now. I'm destined for greatness.
Well, he managed to get himself in a main event, and this fight was all Alexis Rocha. He battered Cobbs in the 5th round, he dropped him in the 8th, and he stopped him in the 9th. And because Cobbs talked so much, the reaction was swift to his loss. This fight was a systematic beatdown. Cobbs was able to talk his way into the fight, but he wasn't able to fight his way out of the fight. This week, Showtime had a press conference announcing their boxing schedule all the way through July, and it's stacked. Showtime's been in the game for 36 years, and they've got a strong schedule coming out. There's 2 unification fights, there's 7 title fights, there's something for everyone. The fight that I'm looking forward to most is the fight that is not a pay-per-view. It's the May 14th rematch between Jermell Charlo and Brian Castano for supremacy at 154 pounds. These guys had a great first fight last summer. It was a very disputed draw. They were supposed to have a rematch in March. Castano got hurt, and now May 14th is the date. What makes that card even better, Jerron Boots Ennis, the welterweight contender, is on the undercard. He signed a deal with Showtime. I have no doubt that Boots is the future of the welterweight division. There is no history like the history of boxing. March 17th marked 32 years since one of the most famous fights in history, Julio Cesar Chavez and Meldrick Taylor. Chavez came in at 68-0 with 55 knockouts. Taylor was also unbeaten, 24-0. What they gave us was an unforgettable fight. Taylor's boxing, his speed, his skills had him dominating most of this fight. But Chavez kept landing shots, kept trying. It came down to that 12th round. With time running out on Chavez, he knocked Taylor down towards the end of the round. All Meldrick Taylor had to do was survive that round, and he would have won a split decision. With 2 seconds to go, referee Richard Steele stopped the fight. To this day, it's one of the most controversial decisions in the sport, but what they gave us was the fight of the year for 1990 and the fight of the decade for the 90s. That's the bell. 3 minutes is over. That is the end of this week's edition of The Final Round. Make sure to check out Fight Hype every day for all things boxing. And don't forget, every week I'm back with a new episode of The Final Round.